You're right at 7, but you're like mid-sentence when we talk.
Gotcha.
So little trick we've learned. In fact, instead of being quiet, I guess I'll just side chat here for a second. But we're about 15 seconds in. So if you're watching the replay, this is just a little lead-in to the normal Thursday night bit, which means it's 7 o'clock here on Thursday. It is the Carr Guy and Sixfan show, and you found your way to my channel, Straight Sixfan. I'm your host tonight, but that means co-host needs to introduce himself. So that guy
my name is Jason, and I am the Carr Guy of the Carr Guy and Sixfan show, and welcome to the Carr Guy and Sixfan show. We are the gold standard of automotive talk show on YouTube. We've coined that ourselves just because there's no one to dispute it tonight. We've got a really big guest tonight. Grant, why don't you go ahead and introduce our guest, and then we'll jump over to the chat and see who all has joined us in the chat.
Well, I'm sure everybody's read the name already. So if you don't know who Eddie is, you can find him most notably all over Instagram at EM Performance, but I'll let him do the rest of the filling in the blanks for the introduction. So Eddie, tell the crowd who you are, a little bit about yourself, and what you do.
Cool. I want to first say thank you guys for having me on the show. I'm excited. It was nice to catch up with you guys a little bit prior to the show. And so my name's Eddie Matos, and EM Performance started only but a few years ago. And I've been solely focusing on Fox body Mustangs, as you can see if you follow my page, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. I've been into all types of cars myself, along with Fox bodies. I'm just a big car lover, so I always say all car enthusiasts. I was a Ford tech for over 10 years, so it's kind of where my love for the Ford came from. After years when I got my first Mustang and things like that. But just a big car guy like most of the guys and girls out there. And my Instagram page just kind of, over time gathered more and more followers, and I just love it. I love meeting new people, like I mentioned to you guys a little bit earlier. But yeah, big car guy.
And before we jump into questions, Eddie, we just want to head over to the chat right quick and welcome everybody who has joined us online to be a part of the Carr Guy and Sixfan show. This is the reason why we do this. We've got Trucker Dave, we've got King Eric, the greatest of all. We've also got Dirty Garage Mods, Darren's Mopar Express, and we've got 4V Chuckles. And who else did I see jump in there kind of at the last minute? Craig Durbin, Paul's Speed Shop, Streetcar Culture, Jason, welcome, and Arc Cricket is how I'm going to say that tonight, just because you guys say it differently than I do. Anyways, welcome guys to the chat. We're going to jump right in. Grant, why don't you lead off with the first question for Eddie?
Well, yeah, actually, one last reminder, since I am the host, that means it is giveaway reminder. This is the season for raffle. Every $1 in Super Chat donated gets you one entry to a Flowmaster 50 Series Delta Flow 2.5-inch center in, offset out muffler, because I bought the wrong outlet for the Fairmont, so I need to get my money back. And we are at 121 entries to date. We're trying to get to 180 because after YouTube takes its cut, I get my money back that way. Jason,
just to set the record straight, it is I that got the haircut and new glasses, and I trimmed my beard. So thank you very much, Radio DJ. Welcome to WKRP in Cincinnati. Okay, sorry. Let's go on. Let's jump in.
All right. Anyway, so anyway, if you want to get a chance to win a Flowmaster muffler, leave me a super chat. I'd really appreciate it. But enough about us. It's time to focus on our guests. Eddie, EM Performance. And so obviously Fox Body is your thing. It's funny you talked about how being a Ford tech for all those years kind of helped you develop the love for Fords. Most people usually would hate Fords after spending 8 years working on all the nasty things, that all the poor maintenance, that people just ignore. So I guess we'll start there. We'll kind of lob you a softball. We love talking to the professional mechanics, to the horror stories they talk about, the things that have come in through their shop. What was the worst thing you'd seen in your time as a Ford tech?
Oh, boy. Besides a car falling off a lift, let me think here. The worst. Geez. I'll give you two quick ones, and these were from beginner techs coming in into the shop. So I worked for Ford Lincoln Mercury, and we had all different types of cars come in, and the dealership would take in students that were in high school and be able to do that an internship essentially. So two instances that happened that are kind of crazy is one of them, and these were from the interns. They forgot to put oil in a brand new Mark 8 at the time. Yep. So, and that lady left, and she came back knocking, and that had to get a new engine in it. that would be one of them. And the other one was after they did a tire rotation, they did not tighten the lug nuts on one of the tires, and they went around the rotary, and the tire flew off.
That has got to sting
Yeah.
just a little bit. So, Eddie, one of the first things, and I don't know why am I always the one that gets stuck with this question? But anyways, we always like to ask our guests, some of the things early on, and kind of what led you into getting into cars. So, what was your first car?
Yep. So my very, very first car, it was a Mazda 626. And at the same time, so I got that as my first car in, God, I don't even know how long ago that was. But anyway, so I had that car, and at the time my brother was going to be going off to the Marines. And he actually was the man who got me into Fox bodies, because when we were young and living at home with our parents, my brother went and bought a black LX with a red interior, so a Fox body Mustang V8, very bone stock, and he had purchased that. And I knew really nothing about it, but the fact that when he took me for not a test drive, but a drive in it for the very first time, and he put it to the floor, I was really excited, nervous. And, but anyway, so he went off to the Marines, and he was leaving the car behind. And I said, I really kind of secretly loved it. And, I didn't say, too much about it, but I ended up buying the car from him. So I kind of had two cars for my first car. So I had the Mazda 626, which was a pretty beat up car. And then I got the Mustang for my brother, which was my very first Mustang.
Well, it's funny because as you were mentioning that, so my introduction to the Fox Body platform was one of my older cousins, about 10 years to my senior. He restored I say restored because this was like circa 92, 93. There was a wrecked 89 convertible Mustang that his uncle on the other side of the family convinced him, hey, come buy this thing. You can get it for cheap. And that's how my older cousin, he got into body work through that. And, he would have been, I don't know, just barely out of high school, maybe in high school. So, it still had the new car smell because it was, only a couple of years old by that point when he got his hands on it. And so then, but that cousin was one of 10 kids. And so there was my other cousin who was my exact age, like everybody younger than him fell in love with like his love of Mustangs concurrent with him, growing up. And so my cousin, John, who's my age, went to the Marines, and he'd always wanted his own Mustang. And when he got it started, those government checks started rolling in, he bought a black LX notchback.
No way.
So, like, your story is just like, wait a second.
That's so funny.
John bought Eddie's brother's car. No, I don't remember whatever happened to that. But he supercharge that thing. It's a pretty hot little car. But yeah, those notchbacks, that LX, like, it's weird. We were kind of talking about this off air. It's almost like things go in waves, right? You know, it's like the 32 Ford Roadster got so popular, they ran out of inventory of that, and then the Model A became the next hot ticket for a hot rod. So Fox bodies have kind of gone to that same thing. You know, that notchback was kind of the less, nobody wanted that, but now, in my opinion, I think they're the better looking, better proportions. What's out of the whole range, 79 through 93? What's your favorite? What's your favorite Fox body Mustang or Fox body period?
Oh my gosh. Gosh, I've been asked that question, and I really love what I have. You know, the car that I have, it's a GT, and a lot of people don't like the GT. A lot of people don't like the wing I have, this and that. But and this was only because I've had the car, I think, for 4 years now. When I first saw it, I fell in love with it. I knew I had to have it, and but to answer your question, I love the notchback. If I could have another Fox body, I'd have a notch. But I love the GT. I love the teal color I have. I love everything about the car that I have. You know, so it's kind of my favorite one. But I do love the notchback too. So I'd like to have, if I could ever afford another one.
Jay.
Dang it. I do that every freaking show. I forget to hit that mute button. Anyways, I wouldn't make much of a DJ, would I? So, Eddie, we all know that you're kind of into the whole Mustang scene. Specifically, what is it that you do that makes you stand out from somebody else who might be into Mustangs?
So, I have a passion for helping people. And I think that's, at least what I think, is what kind of sets me apart from a lot of people. If someone asks me a question, and I get people from all age ranges about these cars, whatever it may be, you know, if someone's new or if someone's somewhat advanced, they just want to bounce, I'm always eager to communicate with them and help them and create, you know, a small relationship with them. I have people that, like this one, this car is got shipped to me from over an hour away. People trust me. You know, so I've been getting cars, you know, shipped to me, and this kind of came out of nowhere, to be honest. And people trust me with their cars, and that means a lot to me. I think it's, you know, I'm a pretty humble person, pretty knowledgeable person, and I think that's what kind of separates me. I'm not the best at, you know, Foxway is a lot of great people that I'll communicate with, because I know that there are a lot of better technicians. I'm very open to talking with them and getting ideas, and I think that makes me even better too. So I don't know. I just think I'm a very easygoing guy. You know, when people need help, when it comes to Fox bodies.
So Eddie, if we kind of expand just one ring outside of the Fox body platform, if it's my understanding, you have a little bit of another endeavor with fuel injector connection. Tell us a little bit about that, what that endeavor entails, and go ahead and just promote away, I guess.
Yeah, no, cool. Oh, this is great. So fuel injection connection reached out to me, and it just started with a very, very small conversation. I didn't even know. I'm just, you know, being very honest. I didn't know who they were at first, but as soon as I started talking to them, we just kind of hit it off, and they had asked me to be a dealer and to, you know, promote their stuff when I can. There was no pressure behind it. but Fuel Injection Connection, they carry all different lines of fuel injectors, fuel injection connection, at a discounted price. It sounds like a commercial. But yeah, it's a great website, and they ask nothing of me. And anytime if someone asks about fuel injection or fuel injectors and what do you recommend and things like that, I typically mention them. And yeah, they've been great to me so far.
So is it something that you specify, or I'm using the wrong words. Jason, use your words. Is it something that you specifically are Ford injectors, or is it something that's kind of across the board? So if somebody was doing an LS or a Hemi or something like that, you'd be able to help out?
Yep, all across the board, from high-end racing injectors to bone stock, and performance injectors.
Because there's this guy that I know who may be doing an LS swap in his square body, and I just figured I'd just throw it out there. Now I know who to contact when the time comes to let my friend know how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, absolutely, and I like helping small businesses like that too. That one, they didn't really ask much of me. I didn't have to do anything, and it's just pretty seamless.
So that wasn't my question, by the way, even though it is my turn to ask a question. But at one point in time tonight, we were talking, and you had said something that led me to believe that you may be on the East Coast. Are you on the East Coast?
Yep, I'm about let's call it an hour and a half from Boston.
I was going to say it's got to be north of New York or Boston, somewhere in there. Just by the way you said something, I forget what the word was. So. I'm not too far away, believe it or not. I'm in New Brunswick, so I'm right next door to Maine.
Oh, okay,
and
cool.
So we're not that far away. And anyway, so I guess the question that I have for you is, on your Instagram presence, you've got a pretty good standing there. I think if last time I checked, you're almost ready to hit 10,000 followers on your Instagram. So what is it, do you think, that draws people in to your Instagram? Is it simply the Fox body, or is it your knowledge? Is it enlighten us a little bit with that?
So yeah, what's funny is often, not all the time, but people ask that. People that are into social media, and it's been the younger demographic that asks that question. Because they, everyone wants to get their followers up and things like that. But to answer your question, I think it's been a variety of everything. And I do post solely the Fox body on my page, but I think it boils down to consistency. So I post every single day. I'll do at least one post every single day. And variety is important too. So I'll post a picture, videos, how-to videos. I did the interviews. And also, like I said a little bit earlier, I'll invite people to direct message me, to ask me any questions, where what I'm finding is that someone might buy a Fox body and they haven't had one in a very, very long time, so they're a little rusty. So they some people won't help them and answer questions because they want them, before they answer any questions, they want to have them come to the shop, make money, and I get that aspect of it. But on my end, I do the best that I can to help them via direct message. And I have had quite a few people actually call me on my cell phone, FaceTime me from all over, and I don't mind. I think it's kind of funny. Cool.
Well, yeah. So Eddie, just to give you kind of a little more context to Jason's question. So one of the things we try to wrap into our show weekly is kind of YouTube growth hacks, lessons learned, what did you wish you would have learned sooner? And so knowing that you do have a YouTube channel, and we've put that in the description below, EM Performance here on YouTube with underscores on either side. Very similar to the Instagram handle, but Jason, I couldn't help but be impressed by what you were doing on Instagram. And so we don't want the show to always just lock in with this like tunnel vision focus. And so we think it's, the world we live in, there's so many different ways to succeed. And Jason and I have talked about it often. Like, I'm a less is more person. I wish I didn't have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, but to reach as many people as I want to from YouTube, I need to have Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for that. So it's really interesting to hear like the Instagram side of things because it's a little bit different, but we always think there's parallels we can draw. And so I really liked your comment about the diversity part. Which one do you feel like's been the most rewarding? I mean, I know the interviews, you do a live interview show just like this on Instagram, and that's relatively new, but maybe which one of those has been the most rewarding have you found over the course of your time there?
I'm gonna say the how-to videos. And the reason why I say that is I noticed that they tend to have the most views than if I post, maybe my car driving down the street or something. But the how-tos, I feel like people, if they have a Fox body, they want to either see how someone else does it or maybe learn something new. But I feel the how-to videos are pretty big.
Come on, noob.
Oh, my soul. I know. Stop. You're putting too much pressure on me here. So to kind of back up what Grant was saying about the growth hacks and stuff like that, and that is something that we both, as Grant said, we kind of struggle with. We're trying to get the presence on YouTube and follow that up everywhere else. I've been doing Instagram as long as I've been doing YouTube, so almost 3 years. I'm at 1,458 followers, and they don't come quick because if you check your insights, you're going to go up 10 and down 7 on any given day, and you get a lot of those private messages of saying, "Hey, cutie." I mean, how can you resist this? I mean, for those of you who are watching or listening to the after show, I mean, come on, you got to join the live feed just so you can see what the hell we're talking about here. But anyways, as we move in to nearing the end of the show here, we'd also like to talk a little bit about some of the things that that we are accomplishing in the future. And so I'm going to toss that over to you, Eddie. Is there something that you've got coming up on your YouTube channel that or your Instagram that you're going to be sharing with some fans or followers that may be quite interesting?
Absolutely. I was hoping you were going to ask this question. So the biggest thing that I have coming up is October 10th. And so what that is in Palmer, Massachusetts, which is about 20 minutes away from me, I put on a charity car show event at Palmer Motorsports Park, which is a big road course track, and I have that coming up very soon, and I am so excited. And it's been an absolute gift to be able to even do it because this track is a private track. So I've got that coming up, and it's a car show, and we do charity laps. So everybody and anybody can get on this almost 3-mile course and feel what it's like to drive around that track.
So Eddie, what's the best way for someone, if someone in the chat or someone watching the replay is interested in attending the event, what's the best way for them to register?
So you don't have to register for the event. You can just show up to the event. At the gate, it's just a $20 charity donation, which will cover entering the park. You can enter the car show if you want to. And then there's going to be a lot of stuff going on DJ giveaways, food vendors, and all kinds of cool stuff. So it's a $20 donation. You don't have to register. You can just come, bring your family. It's gonna be pretty fun.
Well, Eddie, the closer we get to the end, we try to open up the chat for questions for you, and we haven't officially done that, but I've seen some pretty good discussion going on back and forth, and it's of course King Eric, the greatest of all, is our resident Mercury. Just everything Mercury is what makes him tick, and so anything from the Bobcat, the rebadged Pinto there, the Capri, and the Fox Body Cougar was brought up. So I just want to kind of segue that into what, if not a Mustang in the Fox Body platform, what would you build if we took Mustang out of the equation from the Fox Body platform?
Ooh, and so you're saying it would be in the Mercury?
Wouldn't have to, but just did want to make sure Eric
Mercury or Lincoln, because I think there was a couple
Okay.
of Lincolns in there as well that were Fox bodies.
Ooh, so if I was to be asked that question, since I know the Fox body so well, I hope you guys don't think this is so generic, but I would probably look at an older Capri, a Mercury Capri, the 5-liter, because they're identical. But if I could get my hands on an old one, I'd like to make it really badass.
Is that the one that had the bubble back window in the hatch?
Yep.
I dated a girl who had one way back in the day, and they were a pretty cool car. One thing that we did kind of skip over there a little bit, Grant, is we asked Eddie some of the things that were coming up, but we didn't mention each other. So what do you got coming up on Straight Sixfan in the near future? Come on.
I don't like this segment, just because I've been trying to pull off the first start in the Fairmont for like 3 weeks in a row. But I am in the middle of TIG welding a Y pipe, and you saw a little bit of that in Wednesday's upload. That's been going well this week. I haven't pulled the camera out, but you'll definitely see that here, probably done in the next episode. I think I'm going to try to get a second tech video out of that whole operation. But Jason, what do you have coming down the pike?
Well, I've kind of kept this off of Instagram myself and not spilled the beans too much, but Dale is down for the count at the moment, and so that video will come out tomorrow evening. Eddie, if you don't know, Dale is my square body. That's kind of what we've dubbed it. And anyways, we've had issues with Dale in the past, and some of those issues have kind of come back to haunt us. So that video is coming up on Friday evening for those on the East Coast. And I just finished up today with actually getting it back on the road. That'll be Tuesday's video. So you kind of see what went on and what happened. A lot of guys are going to tell me, I told you so, but nevertheless, you'll just have to watch the video to find out what's going on.
Rad, awesome.
So Eddie, since you laughed so much at Jason's comment there, it seemed like that probably indicated you've heard that I've told you so a time or two. Can you think of any good stories that apply to you in the "I told you so" category?
The first person that comes to my mind is my dad. My dad, yep. So, and I'm trying to remember what we were. I think we were working on a timing chain on my first Fox body, and I can't remember what I did, but I thought I knew it all because I was, initially learning things in school. I went to a technical school for automotive, and I was in that young guy stage where I thought I knew a lot, but I had only just learned a good amount. So my dad was like, I told you so. And ended up breaking something. I wasn't sure if it was one of the bolts on the timing cover, but yeah, I had a I told you so moment out in the backyard working on timing chain with my dad.
Well, that's what dads are for. That's kind of one of their resident responsibilities. No, but as you were talking about the Capri, if you guys haven't watched LMR's mini series, what is it called, like Mercury Rising or something,
Yeah.
where they that is a just even from a cinematic just video production level, just a really done mini series, and I would highly recommend if you have any interest in those cars, definitely go check that out. But
That's a great one.
go ahead,
And
Jason.
I just want to take a minute to translate for all of you Canadians out there. The American Mercury Capri was the Canadian Capri, so I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, I know. I noticed you said that.
And all just so I can translate to you guys what that means. That means Canadians like to wear capris. Men wear capris up in Canada because the snow gets so high. So just wanted to just kind of like bridge that gap. Make sure you knew what was going on up there. So
Oh boy.
Jason, you put it on a T. So all right, Eddie. So the car behind us. Tell us about what you got going on, stuffed under the hood. What's the power plant? Kind of walk us through, kind of top to bottom. What's under the hood of the car behind you?
Ooh. So this one here, this is a 1990, and this car was purchased in New Jersey, and he's had it for, good gosh, gotta say 3 months, probably 3 months now, and I am doing some prep work, I guess, to it, because he's going to be bringing it to the track, to the car show on October 10th. So he had two minor issues. One issue was the charging system is intermittent, which is kind of strange. And then the other issue was a belt squeak, which is a pretty simple fix. But other than that, I'm going to kind of go through it, make sure it's, ready for him. But it is, it's not heavily modified. It has a stock bottom end. It has a Cobra upper and lower intake, a BBK cold air intake, MSD ignition setup, and I did electric fans to it, and a couple of I call them soft mods, a couple other soft mods. But other than that, it's just a fun car, not extreme horsepower, nothing like that. But it's in its early stages. He's talking about this winter wanting to do a turbo in it and all that stuff. So I think I'll have my hands full.
Well, we've got a question that's coming out of the chat from King Eric, the greatest of all, and he's asking if Eddie remembers the turbo dual overhead four-cylinder cammed, I guess he's saying, four-cylinder Mustang.
Ooh, I do not. But
Yeah,
I would
Eric,
like to know more about it.
Eric's gonna have to explain more because I don't know of a dual overhead cam. The 2.3 liter Lima from the Fox body platform was a single overhead cam. The EcoBoost, I think, is dual overhead.
Yeah, that sounds like a very interesting build.
So maybe he was talking about the SVO there, the single. He does say maybe it was a single overhead, and I know.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah. Well, what's your take on those anyway, Eddie? Just in general, like how many have you come across of the 2.3 liter turbo cars?
Not too many. Look, we'll call it far and few. It's a very, very simple setup. I think they're even easier to work on than these, or the 5.0 or the V8. These cars are very, very sensitive. I think the four-cylinder setup is less complicated, and yeah, I think it's, would I ever get one? My truck has a four-cylinder turbo, but I don't think I would have one in a Mustang, a Fox body, in my lifetime, though.
Well, sadly, I believe that we have come to the end of another Car Guy and Sixfan show. You know, guys have had some good questions and lots of great chat going on in there. And you know, one of the things that we always take pride in is the fact that we can get some interaction between the people who are watching our show. And there's been a lot of that tonight. They're in there razzing each other, razzing us, and having a good time. So. Before we close this out, Eddie, thank you so much for being a part of our show. We appreciate you taking the time out of your Thursday evening to come join us, talk Mustang, talk Fox Body with us, and for myself, be able to learn a little bit and maybe dabble my toes into that Fox Body water someday. So thank you.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. Honored to be on with you guys and to meet you guys, and I hope we continue to chat, further.
Yeah, certainly stick around for after we end this. We always have a really good conversation before and after the show. Eddie, it's been a real pleasure. Again, everybody, if not here on YouTube, do you follow EM Performance? Give it a shot, at least over on Instagram. And Eddie, so drop your handle real fast, and then we'll close it out.
Awesome. Yep. _EM Performance _.
So there you go. You can find them both, again, YouTube and Instagram. Otherwise, that's going to do it for this week's episode. So until next time. Oh, one last thing. Make sure you're subscribed to Carr Guy if you want to catch next week's episode, because we do alternate channels. But otherwise, that's going to do it for this episode. And until next time.